Welcome to CC Fashion. In this video, you're going to learn how to make this beautiful piece over here. If that is what you're interested in, kindly hit on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell as we move right into the video. To start with, I have my materials ready. Do well to get a very good fabric for this project. Most of the times that people do have problems with their outfit is because of their choices of material. So when you are picking your own fabric, make sure that you have original fabrics, good ones perhaps. I also have my stay. You really need a stay to make your fabric giving, and I have a very good suit lining. This is just like a cotton lining because the fabric is going to touch your body directly. As such, you need a better fabric, you need a better cotton lining so as to not to be harsh on your body. Let's be body friendly. So we're going to start from the drafting aspect of it. I'm going to start from the back panel, and I'm going to draw a straight line here. So this is going to be my start line. Then from there, I'm going to input other measurements. Starting from my chest line, I have my chest line to be 10 inches, my waistline 17 inches, my hips line 25 inches, and my full length is 32 inches. So I'm going to add hemming allowance of 2 inches. Yeah. I will repeat that on 2 points to have straight line as usual. So after marking this, I'm going to draw it now. Okay, so this is my shoulder line. This is my chest line, my waist line, my hips line, my full length, and the hemming allowance. I'm going to input my shoulder measurement. The shoulder is 17 inches, that's 8.5. Then I'll add half of an inch as seam allowance. So I'm marking 9 inches there. I'll mark it on 2 points. Then I'll draw a straight line. Good. Afterward, I'm going to mark the shoulder slope 2 inches. Then coming to the neckline, I'm marking 2.5 inches. If you are working with neck of 16 inches or 17 inches, so 2.5 will be fine for that. So I'm going to connect the two markings together. To slant the armhole, I'm going to mark from this point 3/4 of an inch inward like so. Then I'll mark half of an inch forward like this. So from this 3/4 of an inch, I'll connect it down to this point. So this will form my armhole slant. Coming to the waist measurement that I'm working with is 38 inches. So I'm going to divide 38 into 6. That will give me 6.33333. So I'll take 6.5. So I'm going to mark the 6.5 on the waist line. So you may wonder why I'm dividing it by 6. The reason is that I want the back panel as usual to be smaller than the front panel. On the hips measurement, I'm basically going to add whatsoever I had here. I'll add half of an inch and mark. For instance, this was 6.5. So I'm going to add half of an inch, which will give me 7 inches. So this is what I'm going to mark here, 7 inches. I'll also mark the 7 inches on the full length and on the hemming allowance. Then I will also add half of an inch in each of these. The half of an inch will serve as my seam allowance. For my back neck, I will mark my neck depth of 1 inch like this. Then I'll cuff it in like this. You could recall that I mentioned earlier that I'm going to add a kind of pleat at the center back. The pleat comes in between the shoulder. So let's assume the pleat is going to come somewhere here. So you have to add 1 more inch to whatever measurements. That's why I decided to keep this part here, so as to be able to extend my 1 inch at the upper part. So I'm going to add the 1 inch here. From here, that means the shoulder. I'll add 1 inch here, 1 inch here. Then I'll mark it out. So this is now my nose shoulder. In the front panel, I'm going to start from this other side. Then if you are drafting it directly to your fabric, you may decide to leave 2 or 3 inches allowance here. But since I'm going to cut it on the fabric later, I'm going to just leave 1.5 inches to serve as my button overlap. So I'm going to include my neckline now. I had the back neckline to be 2.5 inches. I'm going to do the same to the front neckline. So I'm marking 2.5. Any measurements that I'm taking will start from this line. So I'm marking 2.5 inches here. I'm taking 3 inches here. So to cut the neck, I'm marking 2.5 here. Then I'll slant it down to the 3 inches like so. Then I'll return it like this and then draft my cuff. This will give you a perfect neckline. Okay, then I'll also add my shoulder. That's half of it is 8 inches, 8.5. Then I'm marking 9 inches here. That's plus the seam allowance. I'll do the same thing here and then I'll draw the line. Okay, then I'll slant the shoulder also by 2 inches. Then draft it to the neckline like so. Then coming here, if you could recall that I used 1.75 in the back, the front I'm going to use 2 inches. So I'm marking 2 inches there. Then I'll draw a straight line. I'm going to mark the chest measurement. To mark the chest measurement, I'll need this back panel. What did I have here? From this point, I had 8 inches. So my chest measurement is 42 inches. So 42 inches, half of it will be 21. Then since I have 8 inches here, I'm going to subtract 8 inches from 21. And it will give me 13 inches. So I'm going to mark the 13 inches here at this point, plus my seam allowance and my ease allowance. So I'm having here 14. So that's what I'm going to have there. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to mark 1 inch here downward at this point so as to curve my armhole. So I'll curve from here to this point here. Then from here, like this. Okay, so that's what I have here. You can see how it's coming out perfectly neat. Then to mark my waist measurement, I'll still come to the back panel, I had here 6.5. So my waist circumference is 38 inches. So half of it is 19 inches. So 19 inches minus 6.5 is 12.5. So that's what I'm going to mark here. I'll mark 12.5 here. And then I'll add my half-inch seam allowance. So coming to the hips, the hips measurement that I'm working with is 42 inches. So 42 divided by 2 is 21. So whatsoever I had here, to recall, I had 7 inches from here. 7 inches from here. So I'm going to subtract 21 minus 7 inches. So 21 minus 7 inches gives me 14 inches. And that is what I'm going to mark here. 14 inches plus half of an inch for my seam allowance. And I'm marking the same thing here. 14.5 here. So I will draw it out like so. Okay. Then I'll connect this like this. And then like this. Always remember to blend this point here so as not to have a sharp waist shape. So guys, this is already coming out perfectly. You can still put in your slit allowance, that is 1.5 here. Then you connect it like this. Remember, I used 6 inches up. You can make yours to be 7 inches or whatever you want. But this is standard for me. This is what works out for me. Okay, so here at this point I am done drafting the front panel, and this is giving already. So I'm going to cut it out now, and I will show you how to cut on the fabric. So guys, to cut it on the fabric, I have folded the fabric into two, and this is the folded edge while the other side is the open edge. So I'm going to cut precisely what I have here on the back panel and on the front panel. The only place I'm going to do any adjustments is going to be at the center front. That is where I'm going to add more allowances. So this is what we have for the front, and this is what we have for the back. Do you want to see how I'm going to cut the interfacing, the lining, and every other piece and every other aspect of this? Do well to hit on the subscribe button if you have not yet done so. Then you turn on your notification bell. Don't forget to share this video and like this video. Please, your comment is very important. This will make me know what you really need and what you appreciate the most. So do well to use the comment section and drop your comment below. So in our next video, we are going to focus more on how to cut the interfacing and the lining. It's going to be step by step. Thank you very much for staying tuned. From me, it's a bye-bye for now.